Okay, David. So, just so you know, okay, we've started this and restarted it 4 times because David, now he's not only editor, he's the director, right? So he's just getting really anal.
Yeah,
I'm starting to lose my gherkin, okay? So I'm getting a little bit short, and so if I come across like I'm real grumpy, it's only because he's driven me fucking batshit crazy.
He's been in a lovely mood all morning, and
so I
make a few errors, and
are you ready to go?
Goes into tailspin. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's go then.
Fuckface.
All right.
Okay.
Jesus.
So before we start, well, we've started, but before we get into it, this is a little bit of an unusual episode for us because we're into our second season, and what we found was that all of last year we were getting lots of questions. People were asking us about the episodes, things that that guests had been talking about, some of our shared experiences, and we always try to reply to them. But we thought, as you'll probably know, we gave people an opportunity to submit some questions, and we've got a ton of really, really interesting questions. So we've picked out a few. We don't want to bore you for hours, but we thought it would be a great way to share a bit more about us, our experiences, and also what we've been doing on the podcast, like a recap. So we're going to learn a bit ourselves, no doubt. Do you want to kick off, Matthew? Because those are the questions that are directed more at me. These are the ones for you. No, those...
What? Okay, questions for Matthew.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Right.
This could be long.
What inspired you to co-host The Brink with Matthew, and what do you bring to the dynamic? Oh, that's a good question. What do you bring?
With David. Oh, with Matthew. Sorry. Okay.
Mate, seriously.
I know.
Come on, mate. Just get your shit together,
okay? Read it again.
Okay. Questions for David. This is from Ellie Carter. She's 18. What inspired you to co-host The Brink with Matthew, and what do you bring to the dynamic? Very good question. I've got no idea what.
Well, good.
Actually,
good question. Well, as we've mentioned, this was not my idea. It was not something I'd ever.
It actually was my idea, wasn't it?
Well, that would imply that it was your idea if it wasn't my idea.
That's right.
Correct. So it was Matthew's idea. And the idea came about, I think, because we found ourselves in a position of becoming mates and unlikely friends at that. So I think that surprised us. And you right?
Yes.
We enjoy a deep chat, and we always have from the very beginning. Matthew one day said, we should record our ramblings.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would we do that? And he said, because somebody might want to hear us, because we talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a stupid idea. Anyway, the idea sort of grew, and we put together a podcast. So that is how we got here. It wasn't my idea. And what do I bring to the conversation? I don't know. I would like to think a very different perspective. Part of what makes us the Brink is total difference. You've got Matthew, the alpha male, self-confessed.
Well, I don't.
But it's legitimate, I think. You're becoming less and less of an alpha male these days.
I think you become less and less an alpha male as you get older.
Maybe. Is that what you're finding?
Well, I think so. I think you become, as you get older, you're less rigid. Or maybe you become more rigid. It depends on how, I don't know, it sounds like evolved, or how much work you want to do on yourself, I guess, but certainly I've found over the last few years I've become way more tolerant, way more accepting of other people's viewpoints, way less aggressive,
But a lot of that too has come even just in the time we've known each other, and we've started doing this, and it's like we're almost on this bit of our own individual journeys with the podcast and talking to all these people. Like, you can't help but pick up things and learn new things, right? Like,
you're definitely picking up a lot of ants there, aren't you?
Ants.
Yeah, mate. Like, you're in and out of your chair.
But I'm always like that.
Yeah, but bro, is there something nibbling at your ball bags or something? Because you just up and down, round about. Just calme-toi, which means calm down. Okay?
Righty-ho.
All right. Sorry about that.
So I don't think you can avoid learning as we go, and that's what we like to think we're doing, and hopefully people who are coming along for the ride are learning with us. So quickly going back to that question, what do I bring? I don't know. Maybe a bit of balance. When you're digressing, I reel it in a little bit, and
I think you're underselling yourself. I think you bring many things. You bring
do say
a calmness, an intellect. Not that I don't have an intellect, but you're highly intelligent. You've grown into the role unbelievably, considering that you've never done any broadcasting in your life. And you've now, like, I'm just going to say this, guys, you've now picked up, you've run with the ball, you do everything. Like,
that is true.
You absolutely do everything. The only thing I do is I turn up and I talk, right?
And peacock.
Yeah, and peacock around. Well, I don't even peacock around that much anymore because the legs are, the arthritis is kicking in, so I can't jump out of the chair as much as you probably notice that. But I think you bring many, many things to the table, Dave, and without you, we wouldn't be the same. Okay, I couldn't do this without you, and you couldn't do it without me.
That's the pack. That's the pack. Well, that's nice. Thank you, Matthew.
Oh, you're welcome.
So here's a question for you from Ella Simmons.
Ella.
What inspired you to take such a candid approach to tough topics? Because we cover a lot of heavy stuff, and I think we're pretty unfiltered. Like, we're honest. So what inspired that in you?
Well, for me, I've just got to say it how I see it. And that's never changed from day dot, I guess. I've always sort of been forthright and, I don't know, just called a spade a spade. So I haven't found the topics difficult. Probably more difficult for people to hear than it is for you to say, But I think that the nice thing is, what I've found is, like, being back in New Zealand, I've gone back and I've really enjoyed my time back there, is that people are really resonating with the fact that you can be so open, and that's been really nice to see, and I think people have a different viewpoint of who they thought perhaps I was to the person that I actually am. So that's been really nice, but I've always been able to call it how I see it, so that hasn't changed. I guess my delivery's a little better,
Softer.
whether it's softer or just better. I guess
awesome.
I'm not as rough edge as I used to be, or like I still can be, but
yeah.
One
of the funny things I've noticed is that you are amazing at speaking about everything, but leading up to some of the episodes we've done, we've talked about addiction or sexuality. You're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk about this. Oh, it's a big share. I'm going to talk about the fact that I use drugs, and you work yourself up.
Yeah, but it is.
Or the other day we did one about meditation, and beforehand Matthew was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to talk about the fact that I meditate. That's just weird." Within 30 seconds of the camera rolling, he's going, "Well, I wasn't going to talk about this, but." So
that's true.
It's true. Like you do kind of like open up even more than you possibly think you would, because a lot of the reaction that we're getting from people, like, there's not really anything negative. No one's going.
Actually, that's been
surprising.
Because a lot of the time, I'll be honest, a lot of the times I've ducked under cover for ages is because I just can't be asked with the negative reaction anymore, because it's a lot to, carry around on your shoulders. Like people say, you can say, oh, I don't care. And you don't, to a point.
But does part of you care?
Of course part of you cares. You wouldn't be human if you didn't care. You wouldn't be human if, the things that people say about you, didn't hurt. Like, you've obviously got to let it go, but, you'd rather people be saying nice things about you than shitty things, right?
Yeah.
And you want to put your best foot forward. So, yeah.
But don't you think with what...
Just taking my jacket off.
One of the things we both agreed upon at the beginning was when we started doing this was that we didn't want to we didn't really know what we were going to talk about when we started. With the first episode, we just shared a bit about our story, about how we met and blah, 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 why we're doing the podcast. We went to record episode 2, and it was like, remember we spoke about life in the south of France and what it was like, and it was, we were halfway through it.
We weren't even halfway through it.
No, I don't even.
We were like 5 minutes into it.
It was
like,
terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a plan.
No, and I don't think we have a plan still.
No, we definitely don't have a plan. It's kind of evolving as we are speaking to more and more people about things we're just genuinely interested in. And then as we meet them and talk to them, we learn a bit more, and we hear about something else in that field, or we get introduced to somebody else, and it's insane.
I think the nice thing is we can go off in any tangent in any direction, so there's no that's been the interesting thing anyway. Like we're rambling, so
but it's the backstory, and also the other thing that we always agreed on was that we didn't ever want to do anything but put good into the world. Like we don't have.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative, like, but I don't want to shy away from the tough topics either. But like, if you're just talking shit about people or things or stuff, it's better to like. We just wanted to help, I guess. That's the thing. I just wanted to use the platform that we've established or that we had or whatever, or that I've had, and just communicate some of my life experiences.
Yeah.
And you've been able to dig down and, draw those out, and so have I. So, and hopefully people have been getting, some worthwhile knowledge out of it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, what I think with us, like, if you were to say we had strength, like everybody's got stories, everybody's got baggage, everybody's fucked up in life, right?
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But you and I guess, are both, one thing we share is that we're fairly not held back by shame with regards to our fuck-ups or our nuances or things like that. So talking about it is something that comes fairly naturally. Like, I'm not embarrassed to talk about...
But you would never, I'm surprised to find how private a person, like, I'm an open book, but you're really private. You would never, like, you would have never discussed these topics ever.
No.
And like, when I told Jamie I was doing a podcast with you, she was like, Dad, like, Ringo's one of my best mates, but I don't really know him because he doesn't give away a lot, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you've given away heaps.
Everything.
So... But
the difference, I think, is that I have never been embarrassed of it. From like my story about addiction or going to rehab, like, I've never been embarrassed about it, but choosing not to speak about it, or maybe only with very close people, is very different to like doing a podcast and putting it out there. But I think I have this, we both are able to speak about these sorts of things and not be held back by shame or embarrassment. And I think for somebody else who's dealing with a similar issue, to hear other people talking about it and go, oh, I'm struggling with that too. And I think like that too. I don't have to go out and tell the world either, but I can see that these guys are doing it. They're living their lives. They're having a laugh at it. They've clearly suffered, but they're getting on with it, and they're not embarrassed. Maybe what I'm dealing with isn't that embarrassing. I'm not that alone. And I don't need to, put so much energy into stressing about it so much.
Yeah,
so I think that's been important.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of contradicting myself here when I say, like, you've got to try not worry about what other people think. Obviously, you'd like them to think that you're a good person or whatever, but in the end, like, you've just got to be... that word authentic, it keeps coming back, and I'm not sure if I really like that word so much, but you have to be true to yourself, I guess, And for anybody to get anything out of this, there can be no bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same. Like, I think if you lead your life with as little bullshit as you can, life becomes way less complicated. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that in my life, whenever I've withheld stuff, kept stuff, lied about shit, it's always been a negative. The results always
outcome.
Been a negative outcome. Like, once you tell the truth and like once you speak your truth, then it's up to everybody else to just to handle it, and they can like you, dislike you, whatever. But at least that's who you are. That's what you've done. That's.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think we've only ever spoken our truths in all of our episodes. But
we have. But what I'm saying is that exactly we have.
Totally. But if someone were to look at, we've only done 26 episodes or whatever. But if somebody were to look at what we're talking about now, as opposed to some of the things we talked about at the beginning, like, my opinions have changed so much. That was my truth then. I talked about, for example, addiction being something I'm born with, and I've always felt like it was my superpower.
Yeah.
I've changed my view on that now. I think I probably always will be an addict, but I don't think it's an excuse to just let it go unchecked. And we've done things like talking to Lulu Cooper about codependency and why we try to fill our emptiness with things or people or drugs or whatever, as opposed to doing the meditation chats with Andrew Marsh. I now think that there are ways and means of escaping those sorts of patterns and behaviours. So that's a change in opinion. So that was an authentic belief at the beginning. Now it's changed.
Yeah, true.
That's
But you can change your opinion.
Yeah,
That's,
totally.
everybody's got a right to change your opinion just because you say something. Like even a week ago or 2 days ago, if you get some information, whether it be from somebody else, somewhere else, or whatever, that changes your opinion, then it's a sign of an intelligent person to be able to go, hey, you know what? I changed my opinion. And you shouldn't have people jump down your throat and go, yeah, but last week you said this. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but I've just been, what did Marshy say? I've just got new info.
Yeah.
It's made me look at the old opinion that I had.
It's like upgrading an app.
It's like upgrading an app. I'm like, hey, no. So we give ourselves permission to change our mind and change our opinion, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
And you can only have an opinion on the information you have at the time or about a topic or a person or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, well, I just reckon you shouldn't be so hard on yourself and try not to judge yourself so harshly. And definitely don't judge anybody else. And that's fucking hard.
Well, here's an interesting question. I'd love to hear the answer.
Is this for me or?
Yeah, it's for you.
Yeah.
How has hosting with David challenged your perspective on life?
Well, that's a good question, David.
It's not a bad question.
Because, look, like I'm a bit of an alpha to a point, right? But and I'll bring this up because it always springs to mind. You know when the first time we went to the gym?
What?
Just relax. I'll tell the story, okay? The first time we went to the gym up at my gym, right?
Okay, yeah,
and I'd been going to this gym for a bit.
But tell the true story. Don't embellish it with...
Oh, I'm not going to embellish it. I'm just going to tell the true story. Do you want me to tell my story or not?
Please do.
Are you saying that I bullshit?
Well,
are you saying that I bullshit?
No, I think sometimes you got some facts wrong the first time you
What, about the fact that you're wearing a leotard?
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Okay, so he wasn't wearing a leotard. But anyway, we did go to the gym and he turned up. It wasn't pink, but I think they were bright yellow, these little shorts, right?
They were green.
Okay, there you go, green. Okay, so they were green, like these light little green lycra shorts, right? And
look at the disgust
in
his face.
No, it was just like he just jumped out like a screaming fag, okay, which is fine, okay. However, I'm obviously not, right? So, and I've been going to this gym for a bit, saying to the boys, well, not the boys, I hardly spoke to
anybody. No one said hello to you. No one.
Yeah, but they all, you know how people look at you and say, hey, mate, yeah, right. And I've walked in, I'm like, and I felt like definitely people would be looking at me thinking, hey, never thought that guy'd be queer, right? So, and I know that you felt quite queer that day because you came out of the gym and you said to me, you said, Jesus, that was a bit rough. It must have been rough for you, right?
It wasn't rough for me because that's my everyday life. But
wearing like skimpy green leotards to the gym?
They were cotton subbies. They weren't.
Yeah, but they were.
That's beside the point.
But
no.
How do we get onto this?
Because we're talking about how's your perspective on life changed co-hosting.
Oh, yeah.
But just quickly.
So I guess like now it's been real easy. Now I can almost walk down the street and hold his hand and not feel like people are going to look at me and think that I'm queer, right? So, but that's something that you've got to get. It's quite a hard thing to, and hence why I reckon that there's not many friendships where a guy's gay and a guy's obviously straight and they're real good mates because you just get tarred with that brush.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's, so you have to sort of rise above that sort of like that sniggering or the judgment or whatever, and that's your ego. But that's your ego coming into play.
Yeah, but to be fair, Matthew, no one was sniggering or laughing or even really looking.
Yeah, but that's
which tells me that was in your head. And see,
might have been.
For me, I found it very amusing. I felt a bit bad for you because it was like you were sweating, you were so uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, the poor bugger. But it's a good life lesson for him. But
so the life lesson is, guys,
what it tells me,
the life lesson is, don't go to the gym with your gay mate if he's going to wear like super tight green leotard, right?
No.
Right, up to there with the ball bag hanging out on the right-hand side.
That's
not... Well, pretty much, right? And holy moly.
That is not the lesson. The lesson is, look at that and say, why did that bother me? because something was concerning you about other people's opinions of you.
Yeah, it did. Well,
Yeah.
it bothered me because I didn't want people to think that I was queer.
But why? Why would you care about what total strangers think about you?
Well, that's a good point, David. But I don't want people to think that I'm something that I'm not. So
Yeah, fair enough.
And I definitely didn't want people to think that I was a homosexual.
So how have
And
you...
not that I think there's anything wrong with being a homosexual, except that I'm not one.
Yes, clearly.
Okay.
That's fine. But so what has changed that you're able to manage your fear of other people's opinions, or are you other people thinking that you might be?
Well, we've never been to the gym
homosexual?
since, so that's about it. So
That is true.
You know,
That is true.
so not much has changed. but I like, you know, and this is true. Like, if anybody said like was derogatory to David or me or whatever, I'd just laugh it off and be the bigger person, and then probably sneak up behind them and fucking put them in a chokehold and kick the fucking shit out of them. But anyway, next question.
So that was it. That's how you've grown.
Oh, I haven't
You've
grown.
turned to violence.
I haven't grown. I haven't grown. Like, I was just like, I still would find that quite hard, and hence why I think that it's hard to have a relationship with people outside your norm. Is it your norm, or outside your
tribe?
Your tribe. So I'm not in the gay tribe. You're in the gay tribe.
But what do you mean? I'm not in a gay tribe. Like that.
David, you like, believe it or not, mate, you're gay.
Yeah.
So that if you're in the gay tribe because you're gay.
Sure, of course, but
I'm in the heterosexual tribe.
Yeah, but I'm not living in amongst only.
No, of course you're not. Like, I've accepted you into my tribe.
This is just a dumb question, and it's boring. Like, the gay thing's boring, but I suppose it is.
Hey.
What?
See? Did you see that, people?
What? Look at him.
Hey, that had him right here. So the gay question's boring. I've had enough of this. No, I agree. Don't want to talk about that anymore. Fuck it. Fuck you, Matthew. Cut.
Keep going, next question.
Okay. Jesus. Fuck, I don't reckon we're doing a podcast after this. Anyway.
No, we will.
Amy looks up my... What? Oh. Holy hell. Oh no, Amy in the Wild. Holy hell.
What's Amy saying?
What's your take on how modern culture handles sexuality and acceptance?
Oh no, I mean...
Oh, that's a toughie.
That's
right,
a big
we've just
one.
spoken about that.
I think we're all a bit too sensitive about it. And it's also like... I'm not interested in who somebody's sleeping with. I'm not interested in what parts somebody has, you know? Or who has access to them. So... That's my take on modern society. There's so much, importance put on somebody's sexuality or something.
No, I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit either.
So I think
but there's like, but it is an uncomfortable, like when you're walking down the street and like or you walk into a place and fucking everybody looks at you, or because
because you're Matthew Ridge.
No, you walk into a place and I don't know, you've done something stupid and you don't realise what you've done, your ball bag's hanging out, I don't know, just something, right? And you feel that glare and you're like, oh, what the fuck? So those things are, like, I'll be honest, I found that difficult to be thought of as something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And maybe that's ego, I don't know. But it felt only uncomfortable for a little bit until I snapped out of it and I was like, hey, get your shit together. Yeah. But I think that's a normal reaction, right?
But I think that's a lot of people's...
that's what I'm saying. I think it's a normal reaction.
But it's nice for somebody to be able to be completely honest and say that. And also to have it received in a way that's like, not like, how dare you say that, I'm so deeply offended. It's like, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I was uncomfortable.
That's fine.
And when you fronted me on it, I said, well, fucking hell yeah, mate. But I wouldn't have been uncomfortable if you dressed like you're just a normal person.
Yeah, but I make everything look quite gay.
No, you don't. But that's the thing, you don't.
I don't even care.
Well, anyway, fuck that. Let's move on. I fucking see the gay question, mate. You always bring the gays into it. Or maybe I did.
You did.
How do you deal with backlash or differing opinions from listeners? We don't. Sorry, that's your question.
Well, yeah, we've had a bit of a backlash right from the beginning, where you were accused of some slurs.
Oh, the gay slurs.
Yeah, so we're back to that, which I'd like to think that people have now realised we weren't setting out to offend or shock anyone.
No, we weren't setting out to offend. Remember, that was just about...
That's just how we engage and how we communicate.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be any more authentic than that. And I also think people, when they watch our stuff, when you guys watch our stuff, and, you know, there's a lot of opinions that we have, or we bring people in who are talking about issues, and I'm sure most of you don't agree with all of them, or any of them maybe. And so when people comment or they come up with different opinions themselves, I think it's really good.
And what the nice thing is people have actually engaged.
Yep.
And yeah, and we haven't tried to be anything that we're not, which is I'm really proud of, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think people have got the gist of what we're trying to achieve and share. And when people it's not a very negative environment, our socials, in terms of the comment section, because
isn't it?
No, not at all.
See, I would have thought
people will argue their point. People will disagree with us or agree with us, but people don't tend to get nasty or offensive or ad hominem. So that there's no one that's really mean. It's that they get that it's like, share a different opinion. We might agree with you. We might go, oh yeah, cool. I totally get that, and we'll change our opinion. Or they also know that we might say, no, still think what we think.
There you go.
Question for you.
Can't believe we got this many questions.
I know. It's impressive, isn't it? That's how in demand we are. No, here's a good question. What was it like? It's quite a heavy one. What was it like revisiting personal struggles with addiction? You're probably going to want to dispute that on the podcast. That's from Chris Jones.
What do you mean, the addiction part of it?
Well, when you talked about drug use, I guess, because you don't identify...
No, I don't identify as an addict.
Yeah. Which is interesting too for me, right?
But I did that, like... I think I
Why
said...
did you do that?
I said something on a podcast, and I said I was a functioning drug addict, but I was a functioning druggie. But I don't think I was ever an addict. Because, like, an addict is something that you can't stop doing, right? Without intervention, without going to rehab, So I've always been able to just go and stop.
Yeah.
But I've always just been a heathen. Whether it be whatever I get into, whether it be exercise, I'm all in. Whether it be eating, I'm all in. Whether it be going out, I'm all in. Whether it be partying, I'm all in, right? Like, it's not, I'll dip my toe in. I'm like, and I'm into it.
So that's quite addictive.
No, it's not. I don't reckon it is addictive. I think if you're an addict when you can't stop doing something.
Okay.
That's what I think an addict. Like, if you're addicted to something, I'm so addicted to it, there's no way I can stop doing it. If you say to me, mate, you can never smoke a cigarette again, I'd go, okay. If you said to me, right, mate, you're not allowed to eat butter again, I'd be, oh, all right. And I love butter, you know, and I love sugar, but I can stop all those things really easily. It's just a mindset for me, right? So I threw myself into getting fucked up, wasted, whatever, just because that was the period of my life. But when I realised it wasn't probably the road I needed to go down anymore, I just went, okay, cool, I need to go somewhere else. Yeah. It's just like what I'm doing now. Like I've been, you know, like socialising, partying, drinking, taking substance for the better part of 20 years, like a lot of people have, right? And some way more than others. And now I've just decided to go, I'm done with that. And I know that I'm done with it, you know? And so now I'm focused, now it goes the other way where I'm like, oh, cool. You know, now I'm like meditating, which is...
See, do you know what I find really interesting is that you seemed more concerned about sharing the fact that you meditate than you did about sharing the fact that you...
Well, it seems like you've jumped from one extreme to the other, right? And that's what I do. I go from one extreme to the other, and I'm all in, right?
But what I've found, they would call that cross addiction. Like some people would call that cross addiction.
I think it's like I think an addiction is when you can't stop. Like, that's when you're addicted. I'm addicted to something. But if you say to me, you can't play, like, I love tennis. Like, am I addicted to tennis? No. I love I love fucking heaps of things. I love doing lots of shit. It doesn't mean I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
No, just because I want to do it all the time or whatever.
That's fair enough. Okay, but it's more interesting the fact that you were more concerned about sharing the meditation stuff. Is that because it's like an affront to your sense of like masculinity? Like you're worried that people might think you're a bit soft or?
No,
like,
not at all. No, it's just I guess I think that it could make people think that like I'm clean green and I meditate now, and like it sort of puts you on a
predictable path.
Not a predictable path, but like I don't drink anymore and I don't do drugs anymore. Like, and that may sound really weird for someone coming from me, and I meditate now. So it sort of for a lot of people who still drink or still do drugs or whatever, like it makes you sound like you think you're better than. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not. I'm like, because trust me, I've fucking done all that shit. I'm just want to try a new thing, right?
Yeah.
And I want to, but I don't think that I'm any better than anybody else, or it's just my path. It's just my journey. And I always say to you, like, it's better to keep your mouth shut, but I can't keep my mouth shut. Like, so I say, look, I don't want to tell people what I'm doing, but then I just go, fuck it, I'll just tell them what I'm doing.
That is literally every episode. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to open myself up to that. I'm not going to share that. Camera rolls. Well, I wasn't going to talk about this. Well, no one's making you, Matthew, but he does. And I tell you what, you come out feeling good about it, don't you? You tend to.
Well, I just think it's a better episode, like if
but you're not doing it because it makes it a good episode. You're doing it first and foremost because it's.
But I guess I just want to share. It's like we've always said. We started doing this podcast because we had, some pretty standard views or different views or whatever, just our experience. So it's just my experience. I don't know why I am the way I am. I don't want to feel like, people can drink, they can do drugs, they can do all that shit, and I'm like, fucking yeah. But I'm just going on a different path.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm better than anybody else. I've no chance. I'm so flawed, it's not even funny.
Well, I was going to say, when is the meditation going to make you start being a little nicer to me?
Well, that's a good point, but I am nice to you, mate. But you just need some tough love, right? And look how far you've come since I met you. Like, you're like C-3PO when I first met you.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Very
As in the robot?
Yeah, you're.
What do you?
You're really robotic, and now you're actually like jovial and like.
I've always been jovial, man.
Well,
I do have the worst laugh.
No, you don't. You've got a worst laugh. Mate, I love his laugh. But anyway, I don't know why that is actually. I guess. It's a big leap. It's a totally different road from where I've been, what I've been doing, to where I'm going now. But it's just my journey, right? So, and I'm not telling anybody how to live their life or anything like that. But I tell you what, it's a nice thing to wake up in the morning, and be fresh and have no anxiety.
Yeah.
And worry about what I said the other night or what I did, or even though I've got a pretty good memory and but. Like when I drink, I'm a monster.
Yeah.
When I drink without the substance, I'm a monster, man. Like, I'm a bad motherfucker. I don't get into fights, but I can be really mean. And that's not my nature.
No.
And so
I can confirm.
It's been nice to get well away from that stuff.
Yeah. Do you think you would be on that path if we weren't doing this? We probably would be, because we'd be yarning it out anyway. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because our chats have always been like...
Look, here's the thing for me. This is the thing for me. I find that when I drink, that's when I have the most drama in my life. That's when, if I go out with... people that I care about and that I love and stuff, I get into arguments with the people that I care about and I love.
Yeah.
And when I'm not drinking, that doesn't happen. You're just way more chill. Whereas, I drink and I get, and I think over, I say, whoa! right?
Yeah.
And I become a bit much, you know, or maybe I become a bit much. I don't become a bit much for myself. I enjoy myself and I entertain myself, right? But I tend to get on people's, you know, like I get on people's radars, and then all of a sudden it's, you know, and then, you know, I'm having an argument with people that I'm close with.
Yeah, the only time I've only seen it a couple of times is when you'll come across somebody who's whining a bit, and you'll just chip away at them.
Yeah.
You know? And it's very rarely that I've seen that, but it's only ever been when you've
when I
been drinking, which is a long time now.
Yeah.
You'll just sort of chip away till you drive them to explode.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, job's done.
Yeah, that's right. And that's
Matthew.
That's
in that
not
state.
cool. Yeah, and that's not cool, right?
No.
So then I wake up in the morning and I'm like,
Do you feel bad?
yeah, I do feel bad. I'm like, oh fuck, why did I do that? Because that's like it's just not a cool thing to do.
No.
So getting back to the meditation and shit, it's just I just don't want to feel like people, you know, that's just my path. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I don't think I'm any better than anybody else. I'm not. I'm so flawed. It's not even fucking funny. I'm a contradiction in terms. But put it this way, I'm heading down a path that I feel like it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Rather than going down that, hey, party dude, you know, like.
Well, there has to be an expiry date on living like that, right? Like I'm 45, you're 56. That's not old. You can still carry on, but
I just don't think I'll ever do it again. That's the weird thing. Oh, cash! Wow, man, you see that one-handed?
yeah, nice. But you don't have to bind yourself to that. Like you're not like me if you're not an addict. You don't have to stay off it.
And here's the other thing, bro. And this is what I've found, right? I have way more energy, like just shitloads more. And
you started quite low energy today.
no, but vibrant, you know, like you get into it and you're fucking you, right? But you're straight as. So, and people still think I'm batshit, right? And they think, fuck, what's that dude on? I'm like,
You are.
oh, I am batshit. But then when I go, no, nothing. They're like, what? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Whereas when I do the stuff, it actually dumbs me down, right?
Yeah.
And then I just start like.
Well, what I find is that what it makes you do is go in circles. Like you start chasing your tail, you get stuck on an idea, and you got to talk it out 100 times. And you know, like you do
and
that.
Mate, and I'll literally walk 1,000 miles in an apartment like this, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like I won't stop until I literally wear a path in the carpet.
Whereas you don't do that anymore.
Nah.
It's
That's bizarre.
That's pretty weird.
And you know, like what I've found is like I just don't eat as much either. Like all that, just all this stuff, like
you're
just
withering away.
Well, I'm not withering away, but fuck's sake, how's this become a fucking psychoanalyst of my mental fucking state? Fuck, let me ask you a question. Here we go. Have you ever tried to turn a straight guy gay?
Is that an actual question?
No, it's not. All right.
No.
But do all gay guys try that on at least once?
No, I don't think
All
so.
right, okay. That's
Look, I don't think so. That's not a legitimate...
It was just a throwaway question, mate. Don't
I know.
forget
Well, I know that you have to keep bringing it back to that, Matthew. So,
what? Fuck, they don't know I'm bringing it back to that.
So...
Mate, just
No.
skip that question, okay? Because I can tell already.
No,
I
don't think every gay person tries, but I think there are times where there's a level of confusion and maybe like people...
What? Confusion?
Develop...
You're confused.
Well, there's probably times where all gay people like get confused about like you get attracted to people who are probably straight. That would happen, I think. But it's not about trying to make people gay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right, fair enough. That's a good answer, Dave.
Yeah.
I like it.
And how would that not happen? It's like anyone can...
Exactly right. No, here's another question for you, mate. This is from Lisa Munro. Well, this is a good question. What does success look like for you, and how has that definition changed over time?
Okay, it depends what period of time we're talking about. But say over a longer period of time, growing up, success was only ever about financial reward or return. Success was only ever I didn't even know success could mean anything other than making money.
That was the same for me.
Yeah. That's true. I just thought, well, success was either like winning in sport or winning a prize at school, or you go into the world and you make money, because there's no higher measure of success than that. Then you assume that because you've achieved whatever, the happiness and everything will follow, right? There was just no comprehension that it could be any other way. And then I think for me, falling into probably like going into my 20s with a view of things are good, material's good, the more I acquire, the more I have, the happier I'll be, and the more of value I will feel, the more important I'll feel. And falling into alcoholism and falling into like, you know, a terrible period of time, none of those things made me happy. Right. And seeing people around me who put all of their value on those sorts of things, and the more, it wasn't even when people who lost what they had, it wasn't that, it was more the more people I see who have gained things in their lives, if they're unhappy, they stay unhappy. You know? So I think having gone through hardship, as a lot of people do, I now look at success as totally unrelated to anything material. Success is about happiness, I guess. And if you can be happy in a tin shack or a mansion in Beverly Hills, it doesn't really matter. I think if you're happy, it means you've got good relationships, you're surrounded by the right people. That to me is success. That to me is success.
I think, like, if you can find peace, I think that's success, right? And peace can come in many forms, but I think money's just offers you, it just provides you choice, pretty much, really, doesn't it? Right? It doesn't.
Totally. But it also, as a goal, it's a great thing to strive for. Like setting any goal. Like I think
having financial freedom would be really good, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, you know, most people strive for, I guess, because then it allows you the ability to focus on the things that you want to focus on, and that may be like, you know, developing your spirituality, or, you know, you concentrating on your hobbies or whatever that make you the person that you are, or that, you know, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but
because I think it's hard. Well, no, it's not. I guess, and even if, but it's amazing, and I always tell this story. Is I remember going to with Mark, and we went to India.
Who's Mark?
Mark Ellis. We went to India, and we were doing it was Matthew and Mark's Rocky Road, and we went to India, and we were in Mumbai, and we went into the slums, and I'll never forget these kids just running out of their like shanty shacks. Like the place was just, it was a shithole. And they just come running out with their massive smiles on their faces, and they was happy as a pig and shit.
Is that true though?
It's fucking true.
Because I hear that story all the time, and I sometimes.
But I witnessed it.
Okay.
What do you mean? Is that true? I witnessed it. I saw it. I see the joyous, the light in their eyes. Like they weren't worried about their lack. They were just like intrigued by, wow, who are these people? Like, admittedly, they're only kids, right? So they hadn't been, but they had so much, because they didn't know any better. They didn't know that there was probably a life outside of that, right? Okay, so they probably hadn't seen television. They probably haven't seen, you know, because I don't know.
But is that then saying you can only be like happy immaterially if you're ignorant?
No, it's not. It's not what I'm saying.
I'm being devil's advocate.
No, but what I'm saying is that like, you know, I can't speak, but what I saw from that was, what I gleaned from that was that it doesn't matter where you are or what you're with. I think happiness is a feeling. Well, it is a feeling, but I think happiness is a feeling. Oh, it feels so good. Seven. Shit. Sorry. No, but I think, you know, like, fucking happiness. I think it's peace. I think peace more for me. Peace. But anyway, these kids seemed to be in peace. They were happy with where they were at. Like, they didn't give a shit about the fact that they didn't have a bike or a flash house or a flash swimming pool or whatever. That's a good question, though, because they hadn't been in a situation like that. Yeah, that's why I wonder. Or maybe they had seen, maybe they had blah, 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 but they were just...
Because, and I asked you that question because I've never been to India, and I know lots of people who have, and I always hear that story, and I always wonder cynically whether it's like first world people trying to like deflect a bit of the guilt about the fact that they don't live in that world, and they're like, oh well, they're happy with nothing, so I don't have to feel guilty about going back to my
it's just their situation.
Okay, well then if that is the reality,
it's just their situation,
then
right?
that's great and that's hopeful.
But do you not reckon, like, if you said to me, if you stripped everything away from me, like you took all my money, blah blah blah, and you put me in a place that was warm, dry, I was fed,
in a heartbeat,
I would be like, I would just make the most of that situation, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would do, right?
Yeah.
Would I want to stay in that situation? Would I work to get out of that situation? Perhaps. But if you said to me, okay,
this is it,
mate, you've got to make the most of it, you'd make the fucking most of it.
Yeah.
Do you know? And that's the thing. So, like, people, I think you've got to look around and be thankful for what you have. Do you know what I mean? Like,
which is such a
cliche, but it's
message,
not.
But it's
true. Gratitude, like having gratitude for what you have. Like, I'm so grateful for my friends. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for the fact that I've led a great life. Am I unhappy sometimes? Yeah. Do I get down sometimes? Yeah. But in the end, I always come back to it, and I snap out of it. I'm like, oh, get your shit together, mate. Look how lucky you are. Like, right? Like, look how lucky we are. Yet there's people with way more than we've got in terms of financial means and all that sort of stuff. But like, I think the worst thing you can do as a human, or I think the worst thing that we can do is we compare ourselves to each other. And once you start comparing, that's when you go down that's when things can get a little bit, like, you compare your life to that life. You get, like you can see how people would be like,
oh, it's a bottomless pit of
right. So you've I think you've got to take it back to the, like, hey, look how lucky I am. Like, look where I came from. Like, I always take it back to my childhood. I was so fucking happy just running up the mountain with a footy.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that before, right?
Just fucking charging up the mountain, man. Jump over the fence, run around the field with your mates, fucking laughing, yelling. A girl comes up, you're like, woo! Like, yeah! Run, chase a girl down the road, fucking, like, not like that, but you know what I mean? Like, and then you just like, you go home and dinner's on the table and you eat and you go and you watch telly and you jump into bed and go to bed and you've got a nice warm bed. Like, fuck, what's more to, like...
No, I agree. And how do we lose that? And that's just life happens to us. And we're told that, we go into the world, become adults, we take on jobs, we take on debt, we take on children, we take on relationships, and we just deal with that. But I think underneath, we were talking about it before, if you peel it away, which you can, and we're learning about this with all these interviews that we're doing, if you peel it away, you are still the same little innocent, happy, easily pleased. Yeah.
It's just all the shit that's been dumped on you as you've grown, and the experiences and the things that you've come to see, and you're now this person. Your body's like older, your head's mashed, but you're still inside. You're still that little child, right?
Totally,
you are, because I don't feel any older.
No.
As soon as I became conscious of who I was, like, that's still the same person I am. I've just had these experiences around all that shit.
Totally. And all of the people we talk to, whether it's we're talking to people about ADHD, we've spoken to people about addiction, so many things, and all it comes down to at the end of the day is we're all trying to escape pain, basically, right?
Yeah.
And we've been told that we're either depressives or, and there are people who are wired that way, or we're stuck in our situations and we're victims of our childhood, or we're victims of having been an alcoholic or an addict or whatever. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. And I think that what we're learning is that we're all, underneath all of this pain and the suffering, we do have the choice and ability to peel it back. Yeah. We're not stuck in these identities. Like,
no, you choose. I think you choose to be stuck, or you choose to like it's like, how some people like choose to be the victim,
sure, or be offended. But that's one thing to say you choose it, but it's like, well, then where do you get the tools to not be like that, to peel it back? And that's what I think we're learning. And these episodes, these conversations are turning into like a bit of a journey for us, and the stuff I've learned along the way. And continue to. So it's about getting the skill sets to peel the stuff back. That's what I'm finding anyway.
Yeah,
it is possible.
Yeah. And I know it's hard to find time for yourself and all that sort of stuff as we get older and we have responsibilities and stuff. But I just think it's so important that if you can find 20 minutes, half an hour in a day to just reflect and spend work on yourself, and that's where that like I wouldn't even call it meditation. It's like
Didn't want to talk about this.
no, but it's just like sitting there and just getting comfortable with yourself, right, and closing your eyes and just watching all the shit that comes in, right, right, and then if you can watch that stuff come in and be the watcher, that's a change in consciousness, right? And that's why you've started changing. I've definitely changed, and I sort of ran into that stuff 25 years ago, and then I ran into other things, but always underneath it was always that. You're always that spirit. That spirit was always there. We lose the ability to find it because we just inundated with all the shit that we're required to do to put food on the table. You know, like for all those people, you know, like mum and dads are just. That's why I say we're so fucking lucky. We have we're financially independent. Is it financially independent?
I believe so. Yeah.
No, financially independent, and you know, we got a little bit of financial freedom. Whereas people who are on a day to day, who having to go to work on a day to day, who come home, they got to pay their mortgage, they got to put food on the table, they got their kids, they got all that shit. You can see why, well, not shit, but they've got all that stuff. There's just no time, and you get snowed under with all that crap.
Well, I've got plenty of work I could send you away if you'd like to.
But I don't want it. I'm working on myself at the moment. I'm being very selfish. So yeah.
It'll be like therapy, they said. Do a podcast with your friend, they said.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's what it has been, really, is therapy.
It has been therapy, mate. It's like you've definitely changed on this journey, man. So have I. Like, and I'll tell you what's been really cool. Like, I did a podcast with that Between Two Beers.
Yeah, love those guys.
Yeah, they're cool. And just to be able to speak openly and honestly about stuff, and the reaction's been fucking like not well. It's been nice.
I wish we could get those views on our podcast.
Fuck, nobody watches us.
Tell your friends about it.
Meow. I couldn't give a rat's ass. I watch it. Too fucking funny. But anyway, have we rambled enough?
I think we've rambled enough. We've rambled enough.
Mate, can we just get guests on? Because this fucking bores me to fucking tears talking about myself all the time. You just wanted to talk about yourself, you know?
I barely spoke about me. We spoke about you and then my reactions to you.
It's all about me again, eh? Yeah. Fuck, I've got some.
No, it's been good. It's been good. It's been quite a nice reminder to us of like.
I'll tell you what. If I can give you one thing to take away, is focus on like being truly present. If you can do that around your kids, around the people that are close to you, if you can give yourself, if you can just live in the present, that's the key. Fuck, it's hard.
What do you mean by living in the present?
Well, like,
I mean, apart from the obvious.
In the present moment, like just staying in the moment instead of like, you know, projecting yourself into the future. Oh, I've got, mate, I'm going to go on this holiday, or it's going to be cool when I get there, or da-da-da, or I've got work tomorrow, and what am I going to do here? And, oh, shit, worrying about this shit and that shit, and then, oh, fuck, I wish I hadn't said that to that guy. Oh, da-da-da. And you just mentally give yourself a hiding in your brain.
Yeah, it's
right. You're just boxing yourself to death, right? And what's wrong with the present moment? Nothing. And you'll find solutions to all the shit that's happening, but that'll happen. Like, sure, think about it, but don't we mentally just like, we go into our minds, and our minds is a really good weapon. Fuck, it can be a bad thing too, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's
like uncontrolled.
It's a destructive weapon.
Handy
when not harnessed.
And I think the key, mate, is just finding the joy in the present moment, right? Like, I haven't thought we've been sitting here, we've been yakking, right? And it's been real cool. It may be no information to anybody else, and maybe nobody get anything out of it. But
that's what we've always been like.
We've been present.
Yeah.
Haven't thought about where I've got to go, what I've got to do, you know, like...
people are going to really
worried about the time, you know, like none of that stuff, just fully immersed in this situation and in this moment, right? And it's cool.
He's deeper than you'd think, isn't he?
But I think that's the human condition, is that like we're always in this lack. Oh, it's going to be cool when I get that. Oh, it's going to be cool when I go on holiday. Oh, it's going to be neat when I go to that party, and I can't wait to do this, and da-da-da. It's like, well, fuck, what's wrong with now?
Yeah, but I think all those things are neat and they are
that's
all
cool.
great, but they're not going to make you any happier. That's the difference. Once you get your head around that, you'll have a great time, you'll have fun, but you'll get no lasting
But it's like, so
just
now, now you look at the now, it's like, oh, bugger it, oh, fuck, I don't like being here, I can't wait to get there.
That's,
like, do you know what I mean?
That's the trap.
That's the trap. I can't wait to do that. Like, well, you can, just make this moment. And that's really hard because we're not taught to do that, bro.
No.
We're taught that, like, our society's just a different... And I think we should be teaching that shit at school, and I think if we taught that stuff, then there'd be way more people with less mental issues, less depression, like... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see if we can find someone. We should ask Marsha, actually, if there's somebody who does teach kids meditation, like if there's anyone trying to put it into schools. That'd be
That's
fascinating.
where we've got to go. Like, we're all conditioned, right? And we're just, and now we've got all these, now all this shit. Like, I've found now that I never used to do social media, ever. Now, like, I'm finding like, it's fucking, these things are really dangerous.
It's called doom scrolling.
Yeah. Right? So now what I do is I put my phone in my bedroom and I leave my phone there, and I ban myself from my phone, right? And because if you've got to take your phone everywhere, if you've got to put your phone, and you can't go from room to room without your phone, like, hey, who the fuck goes to the toilet and does a poo on your phone now, right? That's akin to going to the toilet and eating. And I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, he will be.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good spot to leave it for these guys before they...
Well, maybe not on the toilet. Hey, David, have you brushed your teeth lately?
Yeah, why? What's that sort of question?
Ooh, it's a bit sharp.
I'm going to choose not to be offended by that, Matthew.
Very good idea. Don't put those on. You've got a wide head.
I've got a what?
These will fall off me now. Oh.
Okay, guys.
All right.
Don't know if that was of any use or
yeah,
interest,
we this probably won't find its way. And here's the other thing, guys. Don't look to relationships to fulfill you. Okay? You've got to be able to fill yourself in.
Okay. On that note.
Hey.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for the
go.
questions.
Okie dokie.
One time.
But I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah.